right, welcome back. We are going to have some fun with a mini fan baby blanket. I love this pattern, and this one will have numbers because you can make it whatever size that you want. So I'm showing you my little notepad here. Let's see if I can get the whole thing in there. Okay, so pardon me. So it is in sets of threes. So when we go to do our chain, it's going to be 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 plus 1. And we have 12 stitches, makes 3.5 inches. To, I mean, that's just an average. You may have a little less, you may have a little more length. But 12 stitches for me is 3.5 inches. So depending on how, when you do your the work, when you do the crochet along with me, if your lengths are similar to mine, then 12 stitches is about 3.5 inches. Now, a baby blanket size average is 36 inches. That's typically a baby blanket size, 36 inches. So 36 inches is roughly 10 sets. And 10 sets times 12 stitches for each set is 120 stitches. So that's for the 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, right? So then we will add the 1. So you will do, if you want to do a baby blanket size, then you'll do your 120 stitches, which are your 3s, and then you'll do your plus 1. So you'll chain up 121 stitches to get the length of a baby blanket. If you want it longer than that, then measure it out. How long do you want it? Do you want it 60 inches or, whatever, however long? Just estimate that 12 stitches is 3.5 inches wide. And then when you're going through and you do a chain of 12 stitches, if it's like really short, because your hook size also changes your stitch size. So in this project, I'm going to be using a 5mm hook with my size 4 yarn. So I have Varsity Yellow from Big Twist. That's going to be my main stitches. And then I'm going to do like an edging row with this Arcade Party from Big Twist. So my single crochet row, or my odd rows will be the color, the multicolor, and then my row 2 is my yellow. And my multicolor, I just use whatever multicolor I have around, and then I just check to see, is there a bit of like yellow in, what color in this sequence. Like I could use white, I could use a light blue, I could use a red, I could use a dark blue. Any color in your, if you do it this way, in your yarn will be fine to use. It will match it. So or you could just use the same color. You don't have to switch colors. So let me move this out of the way, but make sure that for our mini fan baby blanket, 12 stitches, about 3.5 inches. A baby blanket is 36 inches. That's about 10 sets. 120 stitches is 10 sets of 3s, right? Of the 12 stitches. So you're going to do a chain of 121. Now I am going to do just a smaller set, just to go through the process of how to do this project. So you'll get your yarn on your hook. The foundation is our single crochet, and then we set up our single crochet row. So you're going to start, if you want to do a multicolor and a solid color, you'll start with your multicolor. And then I'm going to do 36 stitches. If you want to do the full baby blanket size, you're going to do 121. So do your chain and then meet me back here. All right, I have my chain of 36. You should have the chain of whatever size that you're wanting to do. So let's get started. We're going to, you can either crochet on the sides, go into the side of the stitch, or you can use this back bump from the stitch. And I've seen a lot of questions about what this back bump is. Let me get real close in here. When you do a stitch, when the yarn comes through, sorry, pardon my dog. When the yarn goes through to make the stitch, it makes this bump in the back. Okay, so this bump right here is actually for this chain right here. So this bump goes to this set of chain. This bump goes to this set of chain. So when people say the back bump, when you turn your yarn over from your foundation chain, you'll see these little bumps sticking out. And that's where you're going to put your hook into that back bump. And then it leaves, the purpose of it, in case you're wondering, is it leaves this flat edge as your bottom of the blanket. And so the edging itself looks very nice. It doesn't have, just has that, the uniform of the stitches on the bottom edge of the blanket. So you can do either one. When somebody says go into the second chain from the hook, you're going to go 1, 2, and you can either go in here, right, which is perfectly fine because that's that second chain from the hook, or you can turn it over and go into the second bump in the back, which this is 1 and this one is 2. So you would go into this back chain, this back bump right there. Okay, however, let me back up again. There we go. We are going to chain 1 for the turn. So we're going to chain 1 more, and then we're going to go into the second stitch, second chain from the hook. Okay, so again, you can either go into this one, 1, 2, or you can go into this second bump, 1, 2 in the back. Okay, so I'm going to use the back bumps just because it looks nicer. All right, and we're going to do a single crochet. And you know me, if you've watched enough of my videos, I am huge on using stitch markers because there is absolutely no reason why you should fight trying to figure out what the last stitch is. Why should you? I mean, if you can just put something here to help remind you where that stitch is, you can just zone out and crochet, right? And you don't have to worry about where this one is. So, and you don't have to use purchased stitch markers. You can use bobby pins. I've seen bobby pins used. I've seen bread twist ties used. I mean, anything. An odd color piece of yarn will work. You just need to just identify what that first or last stitch is, right? Just identify it. Okay, so we're going to, we did our single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. We're going to skip 2. So 1, 2. Can you, let me zoom it in a little bit. There we go. So chain 2, we're going to skip 2. So skip 1, skip 2. We're going to single crochet into that third. And that's what we're going to do all the way across. So we're going to chain 2. And we're going to skip 2. 1, 2. Go into that third stitch away, single crochet. Chain 2. Skip 2. 1, 2. Chain 2. Skip 2. Go into the third chain away. Chain 2. skip 2, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the third away, chain 2, skip 2, single crochet in the third, chain 2, skip 2, chain 2, skip 2, chain 2, skip 2, chain 2, skip 2, chain 2. Okay, and I'm at my end. All right, I only have 2 stitches left, which is fine. I'm just going to go into this last stitch and single crochet. I'm not sure where I lost a stitch, but it's not that big a deal. Actually, I need to back up because I'm going to change my color here. So when you have 2 loops left on your hook, instead of yarning over and pulling through, you grab your next color, put it on your hook, and pull it through. Then you just tighten up that yarn that you dropped, which is coming to which is the multicolor for me, going to the ball. I'm going to grab my scissors. Did I do that where y'all could see it? Let me do it again just in case. So here's where I was. And all I needed to do was yarn over and pull it through. Yarn over and pull it through. Instead of doing that, I put my new color on the hook and I pull it through instead. And then I tighten the yarn that was on there, and then we're going to cut it. Now, just to make it easier, this is the yarn from the ball that I was just using. I'm going to tie these 2 ends together. Just to keep them from being all stretched out. All right. So here we are with the yellow. Let me get my 2 colors here. So these are the 2 that were together, okay? This is where I joined it, and this was the old yarn from the ball. This is from the foundation, and we're not going to do anything with that. But I am going to carry these 2 into the work so I don't have to worry about them later. So I'm just going to lay them on my hook, lay them over my hook, because I want to crochet over them. And we need to do a chain 3. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to turn our work. This is the yarn that we're going to sew in. We're going to crochet it in while we go. We have to put a double crochet into this same space. So I'm going to move this up. First, I identify where I need to go with my stitch. That's what I'm doing right now. So here's the stitch, right? You get this out of your way. Here's the stitch. Right here, is the last single crochet of the round, and here's the chain 2. So your single crochet is right here from the stitch before, or from the row before. So this is where I've got to put my second double crochet, because you always end with 2 double crochets on the end, okay? So when I push this up, that one's not going because it's part of the bottom. Just these 2. And I'm going to go right there into this white, stitch right there. Okay? And I'm going to put a double crochet in there. And I know that because that's where I identified, I pulled everything apart, and that's where I identified that that's where those stitches need to go. Now, we have our double, we have our 2 double crochets into that end stitch. We're going to skip this chain 2 space, and we are going to put 3 double crochets into this single crochet stitch. Do not chain 1. Don't add anything at all. You just go from the last double crochet directly into that single and make a double crochet. You're going to put 3 in there. Three double crochets. You're going to skip the chain space. We're going to do 3 double crochets into the next single crochet. Let me see if I can back up just a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. All right, we're going to skip the chain. We're going to put in 3 double crochets into the single crochet space. And this is the pattern for this row. You're just going to identify all of the single crochets, and you're going to put 3 double crochets. And that's why it's a mini fan, because fans usually have 5. You have 5 double crochets, and this one has 3. We just keep identifying those single crochets and putting 3 double crochets in it, in that same stitch. Whoa. What a colorful baby blanket this is going to be. And the best part is, this is one of those types of blankets that I like to keep on the side, already made. And then when somebody says, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a baby, and you go, oh, can I crochet a blanket? Or if they say, can you crochet a blanket for me? Absolutely. And then you just pull it out and voila, you have the perfect blanket. Because it's not specific girl, it's not specific boy. All right, so for me, I've gone down the chain and I have put in 3 double crochets into every single crochet. And I am at my end stitch. And I know that because of my stitch marker. And the end stitch is always 2 double crochets. Bam. Now you can take the stitch marker out. Oh, well, let me change color again. Back up. I'm going to add the multicolor back. I'm going to cut the yellow, tighten it, tighten, voila. Do the tie. You don't have to do the tie if you don't want to. All right, and then you're going to put the your two tails over your yarn when you do your chain, because you're going to do a single chain and then turn. And the reason why you do that, why you put the yarn up there, is because if you leave it down here, you will cross over whatever you have here, and it becomes very visible. All right, so we have our chain 1 in our first double crochet here. So we have, let me find my needle here. We have our, let me get these out of the way so we can see. Our first double crochet is here, right? Let me go in. Let me go in some more. There we go. Our first double crochet stitch is right here. The second double crochet stitch is right there. We always end and begin with 2 double crochets for this round, and then 1 single crochet for the other round. So on our 2 doubles, we're going to go into the first double crochet, and we're going to put we're going to do a chain. Oh, stop. This is our single crochet row, not our double crochet row, which is what I'm looking at. So we're going to put our single crochet right here in our first double crochet, then we're going to chain 2. And then when we come through, we're going to do the single crochet in the middle of our 3. Okay, so this is our first, this is our second, and this is our third. So every middle double crochet, we'll put a single crochet in there, okay? Sorry, I got myself confused. All right, so now we can put our ends over, and we're going to put in a single crochet right there in that first double crochet space. And then we can put our stitch marker back in. And if you don't want to use stitch markers, that's perfectly fine. It's, you know, it's your work. You do whatever you want to. So 1, 2, it just makes it easier. So in the middle of the 3, we're going to put the single crochet right in the middle of the 3. Chain 2. Go to the next set of 3. Put the single crochet right in the middle. 1, 2. The next one, there's 1, here's 2. Single crochet right in the middle. 1, 2. Your 3 right in the middle. Okay, let me back us back out. There we go. And then we're just going to keep working down this row. Chain 2, single crochet in the middle. 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 We're just going to keep doing that all the way across. Now I'm coming up to the end, so I'm going to go to the second double crochet which I didn't put the stitch marker in. So now I'm sitting here going, okay, which one is the right stitch? 1, 2, 3, right here. Single crochet. And that's what we have. Isn't that just gorgeous? And again, this yellow can be any color. So even if you wanted to do a baby blue, so you know it's going to be for a boy, no worries. There's pink in there. You can add pink, the blue, the orange. I mean, it's just, this is just a beautiful stitch for a baby blanket. All right, so let me undo this because again, we've got to change color, or I'm changing color. I split the stitch. There we go. Okay, there are my 2 stitches. Now I'm going to add the yellow back in. I'm going to tighten with the color that I dropped, and then I'm going to cut it. My 2 ends. I'm going to tie them together. And then I'm going to throw them over my yarn, and then we have to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. How about if I move it over here? So we did I did the chain 3, and then we turn. Now, my first stitch is going to be this orange and purple right here. So I'm going to put my yarn back over, and I'm going to double crochet into that orange and purple. And then because we have to skip this chain 2, you can't keep carrying your yarn over. I mean, I guess you can, but it would just look, you would just have 2 yarn pieces sitting up there. You know what I mean? So we have the 2 double crochets. We're going to skip the chain. We go into the singles, and every single crochet we're going to do 3. I don't know why I started putting it there. Let's go into the stitch, not it through the middle of the stitch. There we go. Okay, here we go. 3. Go to the next one. 3. Go to the next one. 3. Next one. 3. This is such a beautiful pattern. It can be so colorful, but it's so easy. And of course, if you have longer, your chain is longer than what mine is, because I'm just doing a little sample so you can see how it looks and how you crochet it up. You know, just put me on pause, finish your chain, and then start up, and then we do the turn, and then we just keep going. You may notice that I kind of pull. I'll show you. So when I get done, the stitch is kind of stretched out a little bit, and I just pull this, the colored chain that we did, that we're crocheting into, and it just helps to settle the stitches down, so they're not, so they don't have that big hole still in them. You just pull it, you know, just a little bit, and it just evens the stitches out, and it just settles down that big old gap that happens whenever you're crocheting into it. See that big gap right there? So if you just give it a little tug right on, just on the row with the colors, it'll settle it back down. All right, and then I'm at the end. If you are not at the end yet, just pause me and get to this last stitch and then meet me back here. All right, so when you get to the end is always the same. 2 for this row, 2 double crochets. I'm just really being careful not to grab any of the other stitches from below. I don't want to do that. All right. Oh, let me undo this because I got to put the color back on. So you do your 2 double crochet into that last single crochet, and then we're going to change the color again. So you put the yarn on your hook, you pull it through those last 2 loops, you tighten up that yellow and cut it. Then I tie the yellow and the end of the new color. I don't always do this. I guess it just depends on what I'm working on. All right, so then the easy way for me to do it, to have this at a clean edge, is to fold your ends over, and we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to take the stitch marker off because we're going to use it when we put our single in. All right, so let's look at what our stitches are. I'm going to knock over my camera here. Goodness gracious. Okay. So here's our stitches. We have our 2 stitches here. Let me get my... We have our 2 stitches. One, the first one's right here. The second one is right here. We always do 2 double crochets into this first double crochet. So let's lay our yarn down. Pick up our colorful yarn here. And we're going to put, what? I'm doing it again. I am doing it again. This is not, you don't put double crochets into double crochets. You put single crochets into double crochets. So in that first space, we are going to put our single crochet. And if you are all saying, Sandy, it is a single crochet, I can feel you. I can feel it. I can feel it. I appreciate you. I'm glad you guys know what's happening here. Mark that first single crochet. Then we chain 2. Chain 2, and we're going to single crochet into the middle double crochet. Chain 2, single crochet in the middle, chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. If you I always kind of pull down on the stitch to tighten it up a little bit, because when you crochet into it, that helps it from stretching really far. If you don't put if you don't leave a lot of yarn in the single crochet, it won't have a lot of yarn to stretch with. You understand? So if you just tighten it down, like I chain 2, I'm putting a single crochet here. I go through and see how it's just a little loose. So I just kind of tighten it down, and then it sits more more tightly in that space. And so when I crochet into it, it doesn't leave a huge gap there. All right, so chain 2. Chain 2. Chain 2. So this is the repeat. We've done the repeat for each row multiple times. When you come to the end, I keep forgetting to mark that chain 3 right here. There we go. And then you can just go through, weave in these ends. Piece of cake, right? This is just so gorgeous. So you just keep doing that. You go through, you put your single crochet inside the center double crochet, chain 2 all the way across, and then you go back with your 3 double crochets into the single crochet, and then go back around with the color for the single crochets, then go back with the color. You can even change these colors if you want. So do like a whole row of yellow, a blue, a pink, a, you know, orange and purple, and you know, anything that you want to do. I say it all the time. That's what I love so much about crochet, is you can make everything your own. You can make it your own style. So the creativity is yours. All right, so just keep working at it. If you did 36 inches, just do 36 inches tall, and that's a standard baby blanket size. So that was 121 stitches to get there. And then like when we got to the end and I was short one, just single crochet into the end, and it won't ever come up again. Like it won't become an issue on the next round or the next round or the next round. All right, so have fun, make it beautiful. You can email me pictures if you want. sandy.lazydaycrochet@gmail.com. I'd love to see your work. All right, have fun.